Hello and welcome, Jan here for Experience More. This next chat is with a gentleman called Alesano Talopa'u from New Zealand. Alex is originally from Samoa, and you'll hear a little bit about his early life as a child in Samoa, living off the land and his humble beginnings, and right through to his studying and accounting and now being an entrepreneur in New Zealand. You're absolutely going to love how you hear his life forming around happiness, gratitude, drives and desires. Absolutely amazing gentleman. A few goosebump moments there for me personally having a chat with him. So make sure you forward on and have a listen to that. Enjoy the interview, guys. Have a great one. Alex, welcome.
Thank you, Jan. Great to be here.
Good to see you, and thanks so much for agreeing to jumping on and having a chat. In general, really appreciate it, and you're coming live over there all the way from New Zealand.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
Cool, Alex. With these chats, I never really know where to start. So, why don't you loosen us up a little bit by give us a little bit about your background?
Oh, sure. Well, my name is Alesano Alex Talopa'u. I was born and raised in the beautiful island in the Pacific, Samoa, and I was from the backward part of the island. What I mean by that is the real Samoan part of it, where there wasn't much of anything that is modern or anything is people outside of Samoa know. But I grew up there where everything we needed, we could get from the land and the sea fresh. So I grew up in that environment where if you're hungry, just go out to the bush, look for food. It's the abundance of the resources were there. You just needed to go and feed yourself, climb a coconut tree, get some coconuts, drink it, eat it, or there's guava, there's a whole lot of fruits around, pineapple, all around the place, depending on the season. And if you're hungry, dinner is normally someone will go fishing and bring fish for the whole family. And then every day we used to eat fresh. And that's something I then later realized in my life that when I came overseas, when I left the island to come to New Zealand for the very first time, I realized that it was really modern and nothing was really fresh. So I was brought up in the freshest way possible, natural way possible in this beautiful island of Samoa. In the island of Savai'i is where I'm from. And looking back at life now, it's been an amazing journey for me in terms of the reflection on the road that has been and where I'm at today. I am very grateful to be alive and to have life and all the experiences that I have had. So it's now I feel like from rags to riches kind of thing that's happening now in my life.
But you know what, riches is such a diverse thing when you look at it. I think you were born into riches by living off the land, by doing what it was all about family, community. I don't know whether it's very much a tribe-like community that you have around it, but as far as I'm concerned, born into riches and probably taken out of that to a completely new lifestyle. How do you think that shaped you as a boy?
Everything that I do now, the way my mind works, and this thing of being motivated to get something that you really want, because you know this is where you go to find food and you're so used to the natural stuff around you. And then you see something new. One of the kids in the village would have a new ball and everyone wants to touch the ball and play with that. It's like a foreign thing. And it's like, oh man, they are so lucky to have that. I wonder if I grow up, if I will have anything like that. So it really taught me a lot of ways that if I want something, I've got to go for it. I've got to work for it. I've got to find a way to get that. And because, you know, a lot of the things we didn't have, the things we had, the abundance around us from nature, I was so used to that. But anything else, throw anything in there that's foreign to the eyes and to a kid who's brought up in this pure environment, it's like, oh, I've never seen that. Looks amazing, you know. Any toy. Jan, I remember one of the toys that I had Christmas time, you know, here, Christmas time, yeah, gifts and everything around. Growing up in the island, I remember one Christmas gift that I still treasure and remember today very, very clearly is getting a balloon. And that was it. And that balloon meant the world to me. I looked after it. I didn't want to blow it up to make it a balloon like it's supposed to be, because I was worried that it might pop and then I will not have a balloon again.
Alex, you crack me up. That is that's just so funny. But you know, the fact that you are used to, you know, if you want to eat and if you want to do something, you just go and do it. Very different mindset than what we have today, where we accumulate stuff. Did you have to learn to accumulate, to, you know, be like the hamster and filling your cheeks with all the nuts? Because it's not every day you can go fishing or you can go climbing for coconuts. Where did you discover that, you know, sometimes you can't go every day and we need to start saving and putting things aside? Is that something the family taught you?
Yeah, you grow up with it, Jan. I am from a culture where the word please was very powerful. I'll give you a very basic example. We are preparing the meal for the evening and we'll scrape the coconut and get the coconut cream out of that. And we will pour that into a pot where there's fresh fish. So fish soup, or we pour it on top of our taro or our green bananas that we have. But you come to reach out for the salt and there's no salt, just to put a little bit of salt in the coconut cream to give it that flavor. You can just be very sure if you haven't got it, your next door neighbor may have it. So you just run to your next door neighbor and say, hey, we're just finishing the meal, but we haven't got salt. Do you guys have any extras for us? And they will give. So our community was all about sharing. Sharing is caring for all of us. And there were things that we needed money for, but it required us to go and put the work in. Like for school, we had school fees. So this is where I started to learn about money. There is something that we need to do to create this thing called money to pay for school fees and stuff like that. So that was the only time that I knew everyone was working really hard towards getting that thing called money to pay for things that we needed money for. But otherwise, we can survive as a community in the villages that we were in.
Awesome. And it's, you know, in having observed and worked with you for a little while now, I can't remember how long it's been. I haven't known you that long, maybe 6 months or so. One of the things I've noticed about you is, other than we're going to talk about your happiness, because it's extraordinary that you're always smiling, and we can have some fun around that, but your gratitude is also phenomenal. And is that because of that upbringing, that whenever you were striving to get something and you finally got there and it meant so much to you that you were so grateful for it, including that balloon or a football or whatever? Do you think that comes from that?
Yes, definitely, Jan. I can attest to that. That's where I learned to be very grateful for anything that was given to me, because we didn't really have much. We were so used to what was around us. Anything new, I will treasure that. So that's where my gratitude level came in. And I remember there was a time, an aunt of mine who lives here in New Zealand, my grandmother came to visit for, I think, 6 months or a year, and it was time for the old lady to come back home. So my aunt had to come and bring her. There were inspirations along the way that led me to think, what if? what if? So what had happened is she came and they came home, they arrived, and we had to bring the suitcases. And remember, I don't have a suitcase. I didn't even have a pair of undies growing up until we were just let loose. We just have a wrap around us, and that was it. And you know, it was just a funny way of growing up. And they arrived, and what had happened is my aunt and grandmother walked into the house, took the shoes off, and what I saw was that this is an aunt of mine, much older than me. Her feet were so clean and soft, and it was pink. And I'm thinking, that's unreal. Where do you get feet like that? I mean, I looked at mine as a kid because we didn't have shoes. That was the hardest thing. And a lot of the older people had cracked feet, you know, the very soul of that. And I looked at that and I thought, and then she started telling stories about our cousins, her kids. And they take this for lunch to school. And I'm thinking, we don't even take anything to school. What? You know, as I was trying to imagine her as she was telling the story, imagine the story she was telling, I couldn't really put my head up because she talked about winter, she talked about summer and fall and spring. And and I could never, when she talked about winter, she said it's really cold sometimes, you have to cover your fingers, your hands with gloves and stuff like that. And she said it's really cold, it's just like being in a freezer. And there was only one freezer in the whole village, and that was the church minister's freezer. And everyone used to take water bottles there to cool. And I tried to imagine. So what does it mean? How do you live? It became so complicated trying to visualize the story as she was telling these things. She talked about all these things, and I'm thinking that's not how we are here. That birthed a desire in me. I think the best thing for me to really understand what she's talking about is to actually be in New Zealand. One day, I would love to go and visit. And this is where I found the answer where for me to be able to get to New Zealand, I think I need to work really hard at school and try my best so that I can go to New Zealand for school.
So this is your first experience with why powered desire. So you have a huge why. I want to get to New Zealand. You know, sound like Arnold Schwarzenegger wanting to go to America. so you found your vehicle, which was school, which eventually. Now I know you have a background in accounting. Did it lead you straight there? Was that where you went, or was it a completely different tangent?
Yeah, you know, the inspiration, the gratitude, and the desire all mixed together. And I didn't even know that was that happening and manifesting in that way within me. And so I informed too with the last level in high school. I was getting ready to go to high school, but nationally in the whole of Samoa, you'll sit this exam where you do an English exam and then you get to come to New Zealand if you pass. So in my school, there were 10 of us. I was one of the 10, and that was one of the proudest moments in my life when everyone sat next to a radio at night because we knew that that's when they were going to announce the names of all the kids in the whole island who had actually passed this. And then my name was announced on that. That was the biggest thing for me. And I sat there and I thought, what just happened? And then the reality hit that I am actually going to see New Zealand, that I have been trying to think and get my head around this thing, winter, and how I can have really soft feet and how I can look really clean and have nice new things, lots of suitcases, because my aunt brought a few suitcases with her and a handbag. And I'm thinking, who has many bags? She had a purse and a handbag, and she had a carry bag, and then she had suitcases. And I thought, that's out of it. I don't even have anything to store. I don't even have many clothes to store anywhere. I can just hang it up anywhere.
I can imagine. I'm trying to imagine you as a kid, you know, with very few possessions, going, how on earth am I going to fill up that suitcase? Why do you even need one?
Yeah.
Like that, wouldn't it?
Yeah, yeah. The focus for me was how to get to New Zealand. And I knew that if I worked hard and sit that exam, and even I passed, I didn't even know how I passed the exam. I must have been better than most of the people with what I wrote down in my answers. Because even when I came to New Zealand, I couldn't really speak English at all. Get this, when I actually arrived at the airport, this is a story my kids laugh, and they love me telling the story. We arrived at the airport, everyone went off. I walked up to the immigration person at the border, handed over my passport because I saw everyone was doing the same, just hand your passport over. Looked at it, he saw student visa, so he said to me, "Oh, you're here for school." So I heard the word school. So I nodded and I said, yes, 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 school. I'm here for school. And I thought, oh, doing pretty well. And then he said, how come? So take that question, that conversation, and ask someone whose English is not good at all, like hardly any. And then I'm thinking, how? I understand how. Come. And I'm thinking, is this guy testing me? He's asking me how I came. Everyone comes by plane. But before I came, one of my relatives, I think they were joking and said, at the border, they will ask you questions. If you fail, they'll send you back. So my heart started going, oh no, is this the moment where if I do not know the answer, they will send me back? So I stood there, took a breath, and then I said, I come by plane over there, which was completely crazy answer. And he grinned, he had a smile, he looked at me, and then he stamped and I went, I did awesome, I passed, he's letting me in. And then I got through. So that was the level of English. I thought, is this guy crazy? What is, how come? I've never heard a question being asked that way. The English that I had was very basic. I am hungry. I am running. I am walking was that level of English I brought with me when I first came. And so when asked that question, my world just went crazy. And I thought, I've got to give an answer and hopefully it will be the right answer. Otherwise, they'll send me back.
Classic. I absolutely love it. So you go to school and you start finding your way in New Zealand. Obviously, you learn the language. What was your career thoughts going through school? Did you, now that you've achieved almost your first goal, did you have a second one? You know, what's my next goal in life? How did that sit in your head?
So I was enrolled in the school. They put me in the lowest class in the whole level because English was really poor. They put me into English second language, and I went through that and learned. But what no one could take away from me is that my way with numbers was awesome. So even though my English was really poor, my maths was really, really sharp. And I would top the class in maths. And this is from the lowest of all the levels. And then they thought, oh, we'll put this guy up to the middle level. So they put me there, but because my maths was so sharp, I just kept being promoted up until I was about 3 years into high school. My English had become better, but numbers, I was getting more and more better in all of the numbers. And give me any numbers, and this is why I say I'm a numbers person. You give me anything with numbers, analyze, simplify, whatever, algebra, all of that. Just show me how to do it, and then I will go and do it. So numbers was my thing. I was very, very interested in all the science, physics, chemistry, and all of that. I could understand all of that. But there was one lunchtime, we were playing with the boys outside having lunch at school. We're playing hacky sack. And then one of the boys said something that really changed my world. He said, hey, my dad said the money's in accounting. I had not taken accounting that time. And then I went and signed up for accounting, and that was the beginning. Just from that, I wanted to be a pilot first. So that's why I did physics. You know, for me, the desire to get on a plane was one of the things. When we came to see my aunt off to come back to New Zealand, I saw this plane and then it took off in the air. And I thought, that's incredible. And And so those were the inspirations for me. But then at that lunchtime, what I heard is the money is in accounting. That was it. That was enough for me to create, to get started in becoming an accountant. So I did accounting right up to 7th form. And then fortunately, I got a scholarship to go to Australia at the Australian National University in Canberra to do my degree in accounting. And that's where I'm qualified from. So it was all part of this journey that was ahead of me. And I believed that, you know, if I can think it, I'm sure I'll find a way to see it.
Well, you were proof of that, because every time you did believe something, it happened. You worked towards it, and it happened. So somebody planted a seed almost by accident, and
Yes.
here you are. You just grabbed it, and even your initial dream of flying just was straight out. It flew straight out the door. So you became an accountant, and you started your own practice straight away, or did you start working for a bigger firm?
Yeah, I worked for Price Waterhouse in Samoa. After my degree, I went back to Samoa because I was on scholarship and I was bonded, and that was the right thing to do, is to go back. Some people don't go back and just started living their lives, but I went back and worked for Price Waterhouse, worked for the central bank as an accountant, and so I was exposed to different parts of the accounting profession from there. And then I came back to New Zealand with my wife in 2000. And that's where I worked for 4 years, the first 4 years for 2 accounting firms up in Auckland. And as a result of that, I took action because there was one manager that always told me off, and I think he didn't like me no matter how I thought I was doing a good job. I was never good enough. So I just dislike someone that I am doing all I can and to be told that I'm no good and stuff. So I wanted to do my own business. And that's when I got started and set up my own accounting firm. So my manager is still up to date. He's still working for a firm. And now my journey is completely different. But I took that step of faith and started my own accounting firm. And then I employed other qualified accountants to work in the firm as well. So that was exciting.
Awesome. I just got to digress here. I was thinking, maybe one of the reasons this manager in the firm didn't take to you as much as you would is probably because you're so happy. It really, it's a great thing. And, I think everybody wish they always were, but let's face it, it ticks some people off. I don't know whether you found that, but, I'm generally a happy individual as well. And I don't have as big a smile as you do, but when you're happy all the time, did you find that frustrated some of the people you work with? Said, Alex, why are you so happy all the time? Or maybe I should ask that. Why are you so happy all the time? I think it's great, but why?
Yeah, well, I didn't really think of it in any way in that regard, because to me, happiness is something that births within us, and it doesn't require money for us to put a smile on our face. And I know that every time I give a smile, I get a smile back, and it's like, awesome. This is what we do in the islands. We get along with everyone. So I just continue to be me, the way I knew life to be before I even came. And so to me, that was natural. Never thought about that. It's such complicated minds as well. Mind is a wonderful thing, but hey, it can trick us up as well. And like you were saying, to me, happiness is something that is part of who I am. But especially when something I believed and then I take action and then I see the manifestation, well, that just helps my belief system to go up. And I'm constantly thinking, hey, if this is happening to a boy from back in Samoa, the island of Savaii, and I can do this, and it seems like it's something really hard, I just want to say to everyone, hey, just believe in yourself and just go do it. Just go follow.
I mean, I was going to make a joke and say, and thank you for admitting in public that you're an accountant, but that's almost rude, isn't it? So, it's funny because most people have accountants pigeonholed with somebody fairly serious and focusing on the facts and numbers. and you just looking at you immediately don't fit that category. You know, not saying accountant can't be happy, but you're bouncing around like there's no tomorrow, which is complete opposite. How did you fit into accounting school? You know, in university, there's everybody else, and then there's Alex.
Yeah, I have a really strange but amazing story of how I got through university. So I was on scholarship, my English was becoming better. And then I went to university, and then all of these other kids from all over the world were there. And I was staying in a hostel. I am not someone who enjoyed reading and stuff. And at university, as you would know, there's a lot of textbooks that you've got to read. And I thought, oh, I've got to find a way. In the hostel that I was staying, there was a whole lot of Asian kids who were just hitting the books all the time. And then in the evening, they will all gather into this kitchen where everyone cooks. And because I'm just a happy person, I'm just there talking with them, and then they cook, and then they share their food, and I will eat everything that is left there. And to them, it's like, this guy's crazy but funny. You just eat anything that we give to him. So I'll be sitting there eating with them. But one thing that I started finding myself doing is that I will ask each and every one of them, what were your top to take away from the lectures today? Because we were all in the same thing. And so they will give me the highlight, the top two, and then I'll collect, if there's 5 or 6 of us around, I will get 12 of those top points from everyone. And some points were repeated by some, and I thought, this must be the core. That's how for me, I learn a lot from listening. I'm a very visual person. Give me some pictures, tell me a story, and Alex will actually understand that. So from that, I worked my way through even the lower part of the accounting that I did. They've got to read a whole lot of case studies and all of that. I just ask one of these guys, tell me what was the main point in the part that you were, and that's how I got through. Give me numbers, I'm fine with numbers for all the accounting stuff, but anything to do with reading and stuff, that was my way around it. So crazy.
So can we call you the Reader's Digest of the accounting world, or what? You just do summaries. I love it. So let's move on from that. So you're doing accounting for a while, and you realize accounting is great, but there's probably more. And then you get involved in an entrepreneurial way in the health and wellness industry of all things. Tell me, first of all, how did this happen? And the second question is, why? Or why not?
Yeah. I'm always thinking ahead, and working for someone before, didn't like being told. And then I started my own business. It was good, but there were days in which you feel like, I'm running an adult daycare center here, everyone with problems, bringing all of these things here. There must be a way of earning money that I haven't explored yet. I've got all the understanding of business and stuff. Show me another way. But then, Jan, long time ago, I had this vision that stays with me, and it's alive in me as well, and that I saw. So in many ways, I am one who already sees the end from the beginning, and you just tell me what I need to do now to get to the end. But especially when someone who's already been to where I want to get to, when I deal and connect with that person directly, my confidence levels go up, because I've now come to understand, if I want something, speak to someone who has what you want. Health has always been important to me, because I realized when I started having a family, when the kids get sick, it's not the best time for a parent to see your kids sick. And then I'm thinking, what if I'm sick and I'm not here for when my kids are sick? I needed to look after me. I needed to look after my health. There was a time I had a scare where my cholesterol level and high blood was going up, and the doctor threatened me that If it doesn't change, I'm going to have to start going on medication. And that was it for me. I wanted to actually change. So I started going to the gym. I saw people at the gym working out and doing all these things, but they were also taking those drinks as the protein or what the pre-workout and all of that. And I asked them what those were, and they said, "Oh, it's a pre-workout and post-workout. I take a protein," and it all sounded very complicated to me. And I'm thinking, "Oh, is that natural?" And they said, "No, you get." And because I know nothing about the health industry, all I knew is that I wanted better health. That just tell me something that's natural. I just want natural because I grew up in an environment where everything was natural. So that's me. That's the built-in of me. And now I just recently found the most amazing natural products that I don't have to even think about. I'm a very simple person. Give me something that's simple and Alex is happy. And yeah, but I desire to have better health because my health is really my wealth. And as a result of that, I also, it crossed my mind long time ago. I wanted to eventually, is it possible for me to be able to speak? And as I speak, that's how I make my money. So that was the ultimate goal, is for me to get to a level where I can just be anywhere, go around. I thrive in front of people. I'm a people person. I get really excited around all other energies and stuff. And if I've got something that I know I can share with people, I speak from my heart every single time, Jan. And that is a desire of me to one day, just out of my mouth, I speak life into people. And as I do, I am getting an income from doing so. So, and it is looking like it is headed in that direction. That is a desire that I had. You hear of people at work, how's your day? Well, it's another day, another dollar. Well, I want to say every breath that I take is a dollar or more. So as I breathe, whether I sleep or I'm awake, I would love, is it possible that I can earn an income just by breathing and being alive?
Awesome. Absolutely inspiring way of putting that. So what does your day look like now? Do you obviously you're right now you're sitting here speaking to us, but what does your average day look like? Do you get to speak to people? Do you get to speak life into others? Do you have an audience? Is it paying the bills, or is it doing a little bit better than that? What's it look? And do you still have your accounting business?
Yes. So I've got an accounting business, but I also have a financial services business. So those two are still going. But the latest venture that I've gotten into has allowed me to live life in a completely different way. It's called earn income from anywhere. I never realized the audience that I have can be all from around the world. I get to speak to people from all over the world now at different platforms that I like. This is going to reach so many people. I don't know where you're going to post this after, but this will reach so many people. But such as the world that we live in, we have to, I've come to accept the fact that we are living in the 21st century. And I call this like a 21st century business because technology is taking over and everything is about an app. And I just need it to flow with the go. Otherwise, I'll be left behind. So the skills that's required for this, I mean, if I own a phone, the concept of making money from your mobile phone was really exciting for me. And I thought, show me how, and I'll just follow. And that's exactly what I did with what I'm doing now. And I get to speak to people all over the world. And later on this month, I'll be traveling over to Australia and visiting different cities. And Jan, I just want to say, my reality now is so much bigger and better than my dreams. You know, a typical day for me, I will get up in the morning. Normally, I'm an early riser, so 5:30 I'm up. I do my personal thing. Meditation first, and then I take a hike up the mount. It's one of my non-negotiables because the view from up there is beautiful. You see the sunrise, you see the sunset. So it empowers me to go. And the fact that I get to go up the mount and do that daily is something that, for me, is life-giving. And then I come from there, I go to the gym and do a bit of workout. No one in the gym thinks that they won't believe me when they ask me, what do you do? And I said, I'm an accountant, financial advisor. They go, no way. They think that I'm a personal trainer or a policeman or something like that, or a builder. And so I go to the gym. From the gym, I come home and I go to spa. If it's especially on a rainy, cold day, I'll go to a spa just down the road, and then I come here, get on my laptop, I speak through my laptop just like I'm doing now, and then I'm reaching people all over the world like I've never done before. Everything that I've done before was an in-person. I've got to meet the person, I've got to travel there, meet the person. That was the only way I knew that I can build a business. But now with social media, with technology, it's opened up a whole new world to me. And right now, I'm just like a little kid with that balloon who's so excited. And I just want to soak everything in right now so that I can make the most out of the new world that I live in.
Well, you're doing that, and you're definitely the right man for the job. And whilst none of us are allowed to stand in front of 1,000 or 5,000 or 10,000 people right now, we can do it through this media. I've got two more questions, and then we'll start to sign off. First question is, from a humble beginning with dirty bare feet, no undies, climbing coconut trees, to where you are today, what do you teach your kids?
Yeah, because both my wife and I are graduates, we've both got degrees. Life has changed. My advice to my kids is, I want you to do what you feel is real you. If it doesn't require university, you don't have to feel like you have to go because mum and dad went. And for the kids, we have a family tradition. Every Sunday when the kids were very young, I wanted to teach them how to run a meeting. So we would rotate chairing a meeting from a very young age. And that's a time where we come together as a family, share how the week was and what is coming ahead, so everyone knows what is happening. The word responsibility and discipline were the words that we used when the kids were young, and we're still talking responsibility and discipline today. Everything I say to the kids, even my wife, we say to them, take responsibility for every actions that you take, and just remember to be disciplined in everything you do, and just realize the real you, and just live your life to be you.
I love it. I absolutely love it. For somebody who's sitting here feeling there might not be enough, but they want to do more with their life than where they're at right now, I couldn't think of anyone more qualified to talk about how you get from where you're at to where you want to go, because you would be excused for thinking you're not enough growing up how you grew up. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but in terms of the financial and the world where money is the thing, it's vastly different. So you didn't think you were not enough, you just went for it. But what would you say to somebody that's sitting there, because most people are doubting that they can do it, they're doubting that they're enough, they're doubting they deserve it? What would you say to somebody who is thinking about going for it? Where do they start? What do they think?
Wow. I want to say this: doubt creates mountains, faith removes mountains. If we keep telling ourselves that we can't do this, we can't do that, you're absolutely right. You're speaking life into reality if that's how you're thinking and telling yourself. So we've just simply need to change the way we think about ourselves. I want to say every single person, just like myself, I've shared my humble beginnings. I was enough right there and then. Even up to now, I am still enough. Bob Proctor wrote a book, You Were Born Rich. Just from that title, I believed that I was born rich. And then my mind went, show me, show me, show me the riches. One of my old-time favorite is this Think and Grow Rich. What happens with this book is where the birth of this, as I speak, I earn an income. Because I saw this title and I think, are you saying thoughts will actually make me rich? And I've come to fully understand what that is. But I would like to say to people who are thinking they're not enough, please just simply change it. Let's move away from that camp, that way of thinking, to now telling yourself it all starts with you. You have to tell yourself you are enough. I can tell you that you are, but if you do not believe it yourself, it's never going to change. Believe it and it will happen. You are enough. I am enough. And that's how everyone should think about themselves. And if we feed that to our kids and the next generation and the next generation, faith removes mountains. So many people have so many mountains, but believe that you are enough, that you can be, do, and have anything you want.
Wow. And I've loved the last, I'm sitting here looking at my clock. I'm going, at some point I need to wrap it up. We could be here all day. Otherwise it's valuable 40 minutes for anyone, by the way, that are watching this right now and want to know more about, what's going on. Go back to the person that referred you here and that will give you more information about what we're doing here. And if somebody needs to watch this has been an absolutely unbelievable insight into Alex and his background. And I couldn't think of anything more powerful to share with somebody that might be starting a journey. Share the link and we can move on. Alex, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for just sitting down with me for the last 40 or so minutes and sharing the insights of your life. It went nowhere where I thought it would go, but I've got several goosebumps moments out of what you've been saying and sharing, so I really appreciate it.
Oh, I appreciate you asking me to get on this with you. That I am really grateful for. So bless you abundantly, my friend.
Thank you so much. You have a great day, and hopefully we'll see you when you get to Australia later this month.
Yes, definitely.
Cheers, buddy.
Thanks.